Hello students, we are going to start a new chapter, Molecular Basis of Inheritance. In the previous chapter, you have learned the inheritance patterns and genetic basis of such patterns. At the time of Mendel, the nature of those factors regulating the pattern of inheritance was not clear. Over the next 100 years, the nature of the putative genetic material was investigated, culminating in the realization that DNA, deoxyribonucleic acid, is the genetic material, at least for the majority of organisms. Deoxyribonucleic acid and ribonucleic acid are two types of nucleic acids found in living systems. DNA acts as the genetic material in most of the organisms. RNA, though it also acts as a genetic material in some viruses, mostly functions as a messenger. RNA has additional roles as well. It functions as adapter, structural, and in some cases as catalytic molecule. DNA is a long polymer of deoxyribonucleotides. The length of DNA is usually defined as the number of nucleotides or a pair of nucleotide referred to as base pairs present in it. This also is the characteristic of an organism. For example, a bacteriophage known as 5174 has 5386 nucleotides. Bacteriophage lambda has 48,502 base pairs. Escherichia coli has 4.6 into 10 raised to 6 base pairs, and haploid content of human DNA has 3.3 into 10 raised to 9 base pairs. Let's have a look into the structure of a polynucleotide chain. A nucleotide has three components: a nitrogen base, a pentose sugar, ribose in the case of RNA, and deoxyribose in the case of DNA, and a phosphate group. There are two types of nitrogen bases, purines and pyrimidines. Adenine and guanine are purines, while cytosine, uracil, and thymine are pyrimidines. Cytosine is common for both DNA and RNA, and thymine is present in DNA. Uracil is present in RNA at the place of thymine. A nitrogen base is linked to the pentose sugar through N-glycosidic linkage to form a nucleoside. Nucleosides are compounds formed by the combination of pentose sugar and nitrogen base. In DNA molecule, deoxyribose sugar combines with nitrogen base and forms deoxyribonucleoside. Adenine and deoxyribose sugar result in the formation of deoxyadenosine. Guanine and deoxyribose sugar result in the formation of deoxyguanosine. Cytosine and deoxyribose sugar forms deoxycytidine. Thymine and deoxyribose sugar forms deoxythymidine. When a phosphate group is linked to fifth OH of a nucleoside through phosphoester linkage, a corresponding nucleotide is formed. Four types of nucleotides present in DNA are deoxyadenosine monophosphate, deoxyguanosine monophosphate, deoxycytidine monophosphate, and deoxythymidine monophosphate. Two nucleotides are linked through 3,5-diester linkage to form a dinucleotide. More nucleotides can be joined in such a manner to form a polynucleotide chain. A polymer thus formed has at one end a free phosphate moiety at fifth carbon of ribose sugar, which is referred to as 5' end of polynucleotide chain. Similarly, at the other end of the polymer, the ribose sugar has free OH group at third carbon, which is referred to as 3' end of polynucleotide chain. The backbone in a polynucleotide chain is formed due to sugar and phosphate. The nitrogenous bases linked to sugar moiety project from the backbone. Let's have a look into the structure of RNA. Structure of RNA is similar to DNA. Nucleotide residue has an additional OH group. OH group is present at second position in the ribose sugar. Nitrogen base uracil is found in place of thymine. It reads the template of DNA and forms protein required for the cell. DNA as an acidic substance present in nucleus was first identified by Friedrich Miescher in 1869. He named it as nuclein. However, due to technical limitations in isolating such a long polymer intact, the elucidation of structure of DNA remained indefinable for a very long period of time. It was only in 1953 that James Watson and Francis Crick, based on the X-ray diffraction data produced by Maurice Wilkins and Rosalind Franklin, proposed a very simple but famous double helix model for the structure of DNA. One of the hallmarks of their proposition was base pairing between the two strands of polynucleotide chains. However, this proposition was also based on the observation of Erwin Chargaff that for a double-stranded DNA, the ratios between adenine and thymine and guanine and cytosine are constant and equals 1. The base pairing confers a very unique property to the polynucleotide chains. They are said to be complementary to each other, and therefore, if the sequence of bases in one strand is known, then the sequence of other strand can be predicted. Also, if each strand from a DNA, let's call it as a parental DNA, acts as a template for synthesis of a new strand, the two double-stranded DNA, let's call them as daughter DNA, thus produced would be identical to the parental DNA molecule. Because of this, the genetic implications of the structure of DNA became very clear. Let's look into the salient features of double helix structure of DNA. It is made of two polypeptide chains where the backbone is constituted by sugar phosphate and the bases project inside. The two chains have anti-parallel polarity. It means if one chain has the polarity 5' to 3', the other has the polarity 3' to 5'. The bases in two strands are paired through hydrogen bonds forming base pairs. Adenine forms two hydrogen bonds with thymine from opposite strand and vice versa. Guanine is bonded with cytosine with three hydrogen bonds. As a result, always a purine comes opposite to a pyrimidine. This generates approximately uniform distance between the two strands of the helix. The two chains are coiled in a right-handed fashion. The pitch of the helix is 3.4 nanometer and roughly there are 10 base pairs in each turn. Consequently, the distance between a base pair in a helix is approximately equal to 0.34 nanometer. The plane of one base pair stacks over the other in double helix. This, in addition to hydrogen bonds, confers stability of the helical structure. The proposition of a double helix structure for DNA and its simplicity in explaining the genetic implication became revolutionary. Very soon, Francis Crick proposed central dogma in molecular biology, which states that the genetic information flows from DNA to RNA, RNA to protein. In some viruses, the flow of information is in reverse direction, that is, from RNA to DNA. During infection, RNA code is first transcribed back to DNA, then to RNA to protein, according to the accepted scheme. The initial conversion of RNA to DNA going in reverse of the central dogma is called reverse transcription, and viruses that use this mechanism are called as retroviruses. Let's see how is packaging of DNA helix done. Taken the distance between two consecutive base pairs as 0.34 nanometer, if the length of DNA double helix in a typical mammalian cell is calculated simply by multiplying the total number of base pairs with distance between two consecutive base pairs, that is 6.6 into 10 raised to 9 base pairs into 0.34 into 10 raised to minus 9 meter per base pair, it comes out to be approximately 2.2 meters, a length that is far greater than the dimension of a typical nucleus, which is approximately 10 raised to minus 6 meter. In prokaryotes such as Escherichia coli, though they do not have a definite nucleus, the DNA is scattered throughout the cell. DNA, being negatively charged, is held with some proteins that have positive charge in a region termed as nucleoid. The DNA in nucleoid is organized in large loops held by proteins. In eukaryotes, this organization is much more complex. There is a set of positively charged basic proteins called histones. A protein acquires charge depending upon the abundance of amino acid residues with charged side chains. Histones are rich in basic amino acid residues, lysines and arginines. Both the amino acid residues carry positive charges in their side chains. Histones are organized to form a unit of 8 molecules called as histone octamer. The negatively charged DNA is wrapped around the positively charged histone octamer to form a structure called nucleosome. A typical nucleosome contains 200 base pair of DNA helix. Nucleosomes constitute the repeating unit of a structure in nucleus called chromatin, which is a thread-like stained bodies seen in nucleus. Nucleosomes in chromatin are seen as beads on string structure when viewed under electron microscope. Theoretically, how many such bead nucleosomes do you imagine are present in a mammalian cell? Normally, there are approximately 30 million nucleosomes present in mammalian cells, but it is not certain to the maximum point in case of humans. Diploid cell nucleus mainly contains this much number of nucleosomes with the number of cells that are present. 3/4 of whole human genome are occluded by 30 million nucleosomes. The beads on string structure in chromatin is packaged to form chromatin fibers that are further coiled and condensed at metaphase stage of cell division to form chromosomes. The packaging of chromatin at higher level requires additional set of proteins that are collectively referred to as non-histone chromosomal proteins. In a typical nucleus, some regions of chromatin are loosely packed and stains light and are referred to as euchromatin. The chromatin that is more densely packed and stains dark are called heterochromatin. Euchromatin is said to be transcriptionally active chromatin, whereas heterochromatin is inactive. In this session, you have learned about the structure of DNA, its discovery, and salient features of DNA double helix. You also have learned about how double helix structure is packed inside the nucleus. With this, we come to the end of today's session. Thank you and have a nice day.